Most people, though, when you do that, when you decide to really take a look, it's like lighting a match in a dark place. So you feel uncomfortable. So it's easier to turn on your TV, it's easier to play with your cell phone, to distract yourself from those feelings. Well, when you understand that change really requires becoming uncomfortable to a certain degree, and that's normal, that you're leaving the known and you're stepping into the unknown, then it begs the question, what thoughts do you want to fire? If you believe that you're creating your life, and you're living by lack, well, lack isn't going to create abundance, right? So if you can, get ready. Because something weird or unusual, some synchronicity, some coincidence, some opportunity is going to land in your lap. Everything starts with a thought. I mean, everything that you do in your life, you have to have a thought before you initiate an action, right? So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, like any great leader in history understands that, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide, are you going to be defined by a vision of the future, or are you going to live by the memories of the past? So, I'll give you an example. Most people wake up in the morning, and your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment, right? It's a memory bank. So most people wake up in the morning and they start thinking about their problems, and those problems are connected to certain people and things at certain times and places. And the moment they start turning on those circuits, those memories are actually causing them to think in the past. Every single one of those memories has an emotion associated with them, and emotions are the end product of past experiences. So then, the moment they recall the event, or they recall some problem in their life, they start feeling unhappy, they start feeling discouraged, they start feeling anxious. Now, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So we could say then, most people's entire state of being when they start their day is in the familiar past. Well, if you live in the familiar past, then it makes sense you're going to create the predictable future. So what happens for most people is they get stuck in their biology. So think about this. Your body is your unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an experience in your life that creates an emotion and an emotion that you can create by thought alone. So if you're living by the same emotion every single day, and those emotions are influencing your thoughts, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, you're thinking in the past. Your lens of the future is going to be colored by the past, so you can't see possibilities. So most people like to wait for a crisis or disease or diagnosis before they wake up enough to see. Well, the challenge is that biology tends to be redundant. So if you keep thinking the same thoughts, and those thoughts begin to fire certain circuits in your brain, the nerve cells that fire together wire together, so all of a sudden you start getting hardwired, and those are the thoughts that you can think the easiest. At the same time, those thoughts produce chemicals called emotions, and the next thing you know, your body gets accustomed to living by the same emotions, and it could be guilt, it could be unhappiness, it could be pain, but at least it's familiar to you, at least you can predict it. So some people would rather cling to the familiar than take a chance in possibility. So for most people then, they say, well, I don't really see how my thoughts have anything to do with my destiny. Well, that's because 95% of those thoughts are subconscious programs, right? So you're not even conscious that you think those thoughts. So the first step to change is starting to think about what you've been thinking about and change it. And then when you begin to observe those thoughts, you're no longer the program, you're the consciousness observing the program.
Just simply by being an observer of your thoughts.
Right. So most people, though, when you do that, when you decide to really take a look, it's like lighting a match in a dark place. So you feel uncomfortable. So it's easier to turn on your TV, it's easier to play with your cell phone, to distract yourself from those feelings. Well, when you understand that change really requires becoming uncomfortable to a certain degree, and that's normal, that you're leaving the known and you're stepping into the unknown, then it begs the question, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? Because your attention on those thoughts begins to reorganize circuitry, remold the brain. Because most people are waiting for their life to change, so they can feel gratitude, to feel abundance, to feel whole. You know, that's the old model of cause and effect, you know. So if you're living with emptiness, you're living with lack, you're living with pain, most people have been conditioned that something out there has to take away this emptiness or feeling inside of them. But if you believe that you're creating your life, and you're living by lack, well, lack isn't going to create abundance, right? So then it makes sense then that you don't really actually create wealth. you generate wealth, you
Oh,
generate
wow.
abundance. So the moment you start teaching your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like before it's made manifest, well, your body, as the unconscious mind, believes it's living in that future in the present moment. Now, it's a scientific fact that it's the environment that signals the gene.
Did you know that you can increase your self-confidence and self-esteem immediately by thinking about your good points? Perhaps the greatest discovery in all of human history is the fact that you become what you think about most of the time. Emerson said that a person is what he thinks about all day long. The way you think determines the way you react and respond to things happening around you. The way you react and respond determines your emotions. Your emotions determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. Everything begins with your thinking. Successful high-performance people think about positive, constructive things most of the time. They think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. Especially, they maintain high levels of self-acceptance and self-esteem by thinking about their good points, by thinking about the positive qualities and characteristics that they have and that you have, and which they have developed over the course of their lifetimes. Unhappy, negative people think and talk about all the things that they've done wrong, the mistakes they've made, and the people that have hurt them in the past. Happy, confident people instead think about all the positive things they've done and achieved over their lifetimes, and they look forward to accomplishing even more in the future. Make a list of all your good qualities, of which there are many. For example, write down the fact that you are honest, intelligent, creative, you're hardworking, friendly, you're helpful, you're generous, you're sincere, you're persistent. Everyone has these qualities to some degree, and you have all of these qualities as well, more or less. Then, make a list of everything that you've accomplished over your lifetime, going back to childhood. When you start thinking about it, you will realize that you have accomplished hundreds of large and small goals over the years, starting from when you completed your first year of school or played your first sport. Since then, you've learned, worked, traveled, had relationships, achieved goals, won certain successes, and on and on. Accentuate the positive and ignore the negative. Think of your unique talents and abilities. Think of your core skills, the things that you do exceptionally well that account for most of your success in your profession and in your personal life right now. Think of what an exceptional person you really are, all things considered. When you do this exercise and create a personal inventory of all your best points, you accept yourself even more and you grow in self-confidence and self-esteem. Soon enough, you feel terrific about yourself and becoming even more dedicated to the realization of your full potential. Now, here's an exercise that you can do. Make a list of all of your best qualities, the virtues, values, talents, and abilities that make you an extraordinary person, unique in all the world. From now on, think about the most positive aspects of yourself and your personality, and let the rest go. In the next motivational moment, you will learn how to respect yourself at a high level.